Hi YouTube, this is Triple Valve Metro Camel, otherwise known as Richard. Welcome to the YouTube channel and welcome to the video today. If you want to subscribe at the end of the video, please do feel free to do so, and I will do likewise. Okay, this is looking at issue number 2 of Great British Locomotives Collection magazine, and recently today my good lady, she picked up this for me. This is issue number 2 with the 176 scale 00 scale model of a streamlined Duchess class number 6220 Coronation. And here it is in front of me. As you can see, it's quite a stunning model, even just to look at from a distance, and pretty much like the A4 Mallard, which came into issue number 1. It's a very interesting static locomotive to look at, and the potential to put the body shells onto an existing ready to run model has much potential. So what I'm going to do, like the previous video of the two A4s I did with the static A4 Mallard and its sister loco by Hornby that runs obviously on 00 scale track, I'm going to compare this static model with the National Railway Museum commissioned model by Hornby. So we can just pick out the main sort of tick boxes, what actually is good and plus and minus about the locos together, much like we did before, just a comparison. So I'll stop the video, get this out of the box, and we can have a look at the two together and just see what we've got. Speak to you soon, grab a cup of tea, grab a beverage of your choice, chill out, and I'll speak to you in a bit. Well, here we go. Here's the pair of streamlined Coronation or streamlined Duchess class locos together. Obviously the one on the far left on the plinth is the static version, which we got today with Great British Locomotives Collection magazine. And the one nearest the camera is obviously the National Railway Museum Hornby commissioned model. But just putting the two together, just at a glance, these really are two immaculate locos together. And you really have to get in close to spot the difference, which one is a runner and which one's a static model. And they really look fantastic together, I think. They really do look the part. The model itself, the static model, to me is a vast improvement on the first issued model, which was the A4 Mallard, in terms of detail and every single thing on this loco. They seem to have got right this time for a second attempt. So 10 out of 10 for the loco. I'm going to give you a guided tour in a minute of the loco up close and personal, but I just wanted to get a camera shot in this video so far of the two together, just giving you a comparison of what they look like together, and you really can't tell the difference. I'm just going to spin them around on my little makeshift turntable here and just give you a little glance for yourself, and you make up your own mind. And they really do look identical. And it's like I said, spot the difference. I mean, they really are two very cracking looking locos, and the fact that one's a static and one's a runner is just goes to show a point of how really good these models are coming out so far in this magazine release. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to stop the camera, I'm going to detach it from the tripod so we can get an up close and personal look with this issue number 2 of Great British Locomotives Collection's static model of a Duchess streamlined class loco. So grab yourself a cup of tea or coffee or beverage of your choice, sit back, chill out and enjoy this video. Talk to you soon, see you in a bit, take care. Okay, welcome back. So, as mentioned, this loco is really well made compared to the A4. This is definitely a vast improvement. It just seems a lot better in quality and in appearance. The only thing I received on my sample today was the fact that one of the corners of the plasticky plinth, as you can see, a bit here had been chipped off, which really isn't a problem so much, but just one of those things that niggle me. The buffers here, one of the, as you can see, this ladder that's on the back of the tender here, it actually came off, and when I actually took it off completely from the tender, this ladder, as you can see in front, it had quite a lot of flash in between the ladder runs. It looked a little bit nasty, so I actually took it off completely and just got a file and a craft knife and just spent a little bit of time going between the runs and tidying it up a little bit, and then just reattached it on the back of the tender there, which doesn't look too bad. These buffers, these left and right buffers here, the left hand side buffer had some really nasty glue splattered over it from the factory. So what I did, again, I just went over it with a file, did the same to the opposite, cleaned it up a little bit, then went over both of the buffers with some matte black rail match paint. So we tidied the buffers up a little bit, gave the vacuum pipe a little bit of a lick of paint, not too much, but the fact you get a vacuum pipe on there is quite nice. I mean, even just for a static model, there's some lovely detail on the back there. It really is quite nice. Right down to the L.M.S manufacturer's plate on there and everything. And there's quite a nice little bit of rivet detail on the tender as well. Let's turn it around a little bit. Have a little look. Okay, so looking at the tender, this loco in general, as you can see, I really do give this 10 out of 10. If you compare it to the other one, it really does look good. Even the wheels look half decent, much more improved than the Mallard, which was issue number 1. The handrails on the side, they don't look too bad. The coal on top looks virtually identical to the other one. The cab itself, there isn't much detail in the cab. It's just very plain black. The actual back head's very black and plain. There's some moulded controls in there, something that you'd expect of, for example, a Triumph model or something like that. There's no detail whatsoever in the cab, not even any painted reverser levers at all. There's nothing in the cab of interest, but the profile is really nice between the cab and the tender, as you can see. This is what I liked about the model. This is what immediately I thought, no matter what this model has in store, I'm going to give it 10 out of 10 based on this. Look at these pipes underneath the cab there that go to the tender. Look at these pipes, guys. Look at that. That really is a nice touch. And they're on both sides as well. Really nice amount of detail there. And if you want a comparison between that bit of detail and the cab, I'll just spin this round to look at the Hornby model, and you can see what I mean. This is the Hornby model, obviously a little bit better, but as you can see, they've got the general idea pretty much correct on the static model, as you can see there. So definitely 10 out of 10 for that. The wheels in general on this model, although they're the sort of cheap and nasty white metal castings or whatever they are, they seem to be a lot more improved compared to the A4 Mallard. Whether it's because they've been painted black correctly or they just seem to sit better, I don't know, but the wheel arrangement and the running gear generally seems improved. On my sample that I got today from the shop, there was tiny little bits of bare white metal or whatever is showing in some of the spokes and some of the actual axle bit. And what I did, again, I went over it with the rail match matte black paint and tidied up that area a little bit just to fill it in, make it look a bit more acceptable. But generally, on the whole, it's not too bad. It's actually quite nice. And there was a huge sigh of relief when I opened up this model because the front bogies actually was sitting on the dummy bit of track compared to the A4 that was sticking up in the air, which really bugged the hell out of me. I know some of you guys out there have shared the same thoughts on that the wheels weren't correctly sitting on the track and they weren't being able to drop down correctly. These ones actually do, so that's the first thing I noticed, and I was quite pleased with that. Right, the paint finish on this model, as I said, it really, I'd give the paint model probably, the paint finish, I'd give the paint finish on this model at least 10 out of 10. It really is very, very, very nice. Certainly for a static model, and just really, there's nothing you can't fault about it. Compare it to, say, the Hornby version. The Hornby version is slightly crisp, obviously as you'd expect from a reputable model railway manufacturer, but for a static off-the-shelf model, it really is pretty good. With the front profile, they've got that right. Obviously they've looked at the National Railway Museum full-size I would say model there, the full-size loco in the National Railway Museum, Duchess Hamilton. They've obviously looked at that and drafted their model plans from that. And I would say if you really want to sort of customise your version, you can get a dummy coupling and a chain and stick that on the front there on the hook that's provided. It's quite easy to do that. And it comes with a vacuum pipe on there, which is nice. If you look at the front end detail there on the static model, you compare that across the way here to the Hornby version. They really have gone in for a little bit of time and consideration. The front steps there look a little bit too nasty and a bit too chunky. A little bit of flash round there compared to the fine scale one there. And obviously on the front of the buffers there you're missing some lamp iron brackets there, which on the front of this model by Hornby, as you can see, they're on there, painted out in silver. This one they're just moulding in, I think. But here's an interesting fact, guys, about these two models. One of the things that Hornby have missed out on the model in front of you here, on the first model, is the chimney. Now the chimney profile on the two models are exactly nigh on identical and perfect. But on the Hornby version, and if you look at my video of this loco reviewed on its own, I did mention that in one of the things I mentioned about this chimney, they haven't bored out the second hole. And it's supposed to be a double blast pipe chimney as per prototype, and they haven't done that on there. But if we spin our little makeshift turntable around and look at the static version, hey presto, you've got two bored out chimney holes, which is perfect. Now I'm sure something that Hornby could have done quite easily on their model. The only thing that is a little bit slightly on the static model is you've got these handrails that go down the side from cab to the front of the loco there. They're way too overscaled, they're too thick and nasty, they look a little bit out of place. If you want to be sort of finicky, they're a little bit too thick. But as I said, from a distance and looking at this loco on the shelf or on your desk in your office, it really doesn't look out of place, to be honest with you. And they really make a nice pair of streamlined coronation classes. More streamlined Duchess classes, should I say. Apologies. What else on there? Oh yeah, on my sample here, unfortunately, some kind person in the factory decided to spill glue on my coronation nameplate, as you can see. And what I've done, I've scraped it off a little bit and just tried to clean it up as best I can, but I don't want to overall scratch it too much because I might actually ruin the finish on there and just rip off a letter or something like that. Unfortunately, that's the only thing that majorly sticks out. And on the other side, oops, the other side's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. as you can see. But overall, there you go. That's my pair of streamlined Duchess class London Midland Scottish locos. One from Hornby and one from the Great British Locomotive Collection magazine, issue number 2. And if, like me, you're planning on collecting these locos, which I certainly am, they make very interesting models, and certainly I'm pretty sure, like the A4, I've not done it myself yet, but you can actually, I believe, take these body shells off and put it on an existing chassis. Me personally, I'm leaving both as they are. Anyway, there you go. Hope you enjoyed the review, and our next review of the Great British Locomotives collection will of course be the famous Flying Scotsman, which I believe is the issue number 3 to be released in a week or so's time. Anyway, hope you liked the vid. There we go. Something different, and I'll speak to you soon. Happy modelling, take care. Bye bye.